All right, hello. So this is gonna be me talking about Bring 3 Band 1 format. Is it the best format? This is the tournament official format where you can bring 3 characters of Dice Throne and do a series of rolls to choose the band first, then to choose to pick first and go first. I am a fan of this format, and I'll explain why, and also just formats in general. I think formats in general are good to spice up the game, to make the game feel not so samey, especially when you're playing competitively. You'll find that people will default to like Thor and the high kind of meta heroes. Not to say that they can't lose, but they definitely have a lot of edges in most matchups, basically. Or they're just very good heroes as far as in the hands of a skilled player that knows the ins and outs of the game, such as dice modding and what to roll for and what to go for. But the reason why I like Bring 3 Band 1 is it allows you to maybe utilize some of the weaker heroes in the game. A good example is like Seraph. I think there's a lot of matchups that Seraph isn't very good. Like an example would be, say, versus Paladin. Your cleanse doesn't do anything against Paladin. And your damage is quite slow. So Paladin is very good defensively, can survive, and also econ out you with his passive ability. And if you get Blinding Light on a Paladin, he can use this passive ability to pay a CP and reroll it, and that's pretty devastating. So I also like against Moon Elf, that would be another one. So there's certain characters in the game, what I would say is they have an edge on that particular character. So another good example would be Seraph versus Cursed Pirate. Now, what I mean by edges is that their toolkit or the things that they do work 100% or to the maximum degree. So the reason why I think Seraph is good versus Cursed Pirate is the cleanses work on kegs, withers, and yeah, those are the two major things. So you get value out of the cleanses. Her flights can be good to stay alive, and the longer the game goes against a Cursed Pirate, usually you win. And then Blinding Light's also good. But here's another one I think is good too. So say you're playing against Pyromancer with Seraph. Well, your cleanses can get rid of knockdown and burn, and your Blinding Light has a true 50% chance of doing something against like a character like Pyromancer, because all the lock-ins are attacks. So if you roll a 2 or 3, that's half the damage, and then a 1 does nothing. So that's a true 50-50 compared to playing against Shadow Thief. So Shadow Thief has Pickpocket, Cardcopia, so that's a 1 in 6 chance for Blinding Light to actually do something. And so that's where I think, like, when we talk about these little edge cases here and there, that's where, the Bring 3 Band 1 is a good format in my eyes, because the players that have played the game and got to know most of the character roster will also have a better knowledge and better idea of the edge advantage for certain characters. So when you say pick a team of 3, say one of them is like a counter pick for another hero. So like Black Panther is a good example. Black Panther can counter a lot of heroes in the game, especially heroes that do a little bit of damage back on defense or do ping damage like poison or burn even. And Black Panther can utilize that. So say you bring Cursed Pirate, Pyromancer, and Black Panther. Your opponent bans, say, Pyromancer. Now you have a Black Panther and Cursed Pirate to see what your opponent brings to the table. And that the thing I dislike about some of the popular formats outside of official tournament play is this whole notion of, you know, you pick your hero and then you turn on camera and then you're just hoping that you lucked out on that pick. Now you could say, well, you're also hoping when you bring 3, not as much, I don't think, because when you bring 3, there's a lot of variables and it's more spread out because you have 3 different characters, and then you have to go through a banning process, and then to choose first, you can make your opponent choose first, and then you have a better position to counter pick. So the normal format where you just turn on the web camera or flip over your board if you're playing in person, I think it's a lot more chance. And you know, if you get in those matchups where you're clearly at an advantage, and also you usually don't want to play those weaker heroes like Seraph. Not to say Seraph is weak, but like in certain matchups she's definitely weak. And here's another counter or edge case is Tactician versus Paladin, right? You can put Conscription on Paladin, and now that passive that the Paladin gets by re-rolling dice, he's gonna pay extra for it, like double. So definitely think that's where the nice thing, like when you pick that team, you might not want that 3 characters. You might not want the cream of the crop meta characters, because you know, like, so Paladin is considered one of the top meta, but like if you have 2 other characters that are like counter pick characters, or at least one counter pick character, now you have an option perhaps to wind up in a counter matchup, and then your opponent also has to think about that too. So I think there's a lot more kind of exciting kind of knowledge, and also you want to build that well-rounded team of 3 characters, right? Because say if you do like the very high top meta Cursed Pirate Thor, Pyromancer, you could, if you have that 1 counter pick or 2 counter pick, you might be able to have an edge. I call it an edge because when you think about it, you know, Dice Throne is a lot about luck, but again, when you have little edges here and there, and when your hero can perform a lot better and use all the utility that is in the mechanics of that hero, you put yourself at a way more advantage position to win that game. And the only times like where you probably, like, say you're in a edge case advantage game against another character, if the other player is rolling hot, meaning like they're getting natural larges, maybe like dice mod into an ultimate quite easy or something like that, which yeah, it does happen from game to game, but not like, usually it's not like a frequent thing. So like those are games where yeah, you could just lose based on your opponent's just like hot with the dice. Will you be so Devin says, will you be rotating low level characters in future for variety? Yeah, I mean, I started with Barbarian, then we went to Pyromancer, Santa Claus. I'm playing with Seraph. I'm playing with I'm starting to try to play with Artificer 2 now. So like, I mean, oh yeah, Artificer is not a low level, but you know, Santa Claus, Barbarian, and Seraph are not considered very high level. But my whole talk here is, what do you guys think? Do you share the same type of sentiments towards this particular format? So for me right now, I've got maybe 200 plus games under my belt of playing Dice Throne, and I really like the Bring 3 Ban 1 format. It's just because outside of it, I feel like it's just a guessing game. I'm like just trying to guess what your opponent might flip over that one character, and then, you know, when you happen to like, haha, I pick Barbarian and you pick Black Panther, I got you. Yeah, it's, I don't know, I just feel like the Bring 3, you can assemble kind of like a team and be creative with that team that you bring, and it just seems a little more strategic. And also the who goes first and who doesn't to choose, I think that's also really good. So the cool thing is, it's the official way to play it, in the tournament when you go play it live at like stores, so that's good. But that's the main thing I think I want to stress is it turns like characters like Barbarian, Seraph, Tactician, you know, some lower ranked heroes in the meta tier list. It actually, in that type of format, I believe these characters are well worth it, and they can perform really well in certain matchups. Like I said in the beginning, I gave examples of why and what are bad matchups. And I do play, like, I'm not saying there's people that have played this game way more than me, but I will say that that's what I'm noticing a lot is, you know, in Dice Throne, you take the little edges and advantages you can get, because at the end of the day, it's luck plus your ability to wither the storm and, you know, be smart with your dice mods and all that. But having these little advantages here and there, I feel like definitely rewards those players. And if it's a close game, I think it's going to ultimately factor into that. You know, a good example is, you know, Shadow Thief is very powerful, but I believe Cursed Pirate has a big edge on Shadow Thief. I'm not saying Shadow Thief can't win against Cursed Pirate, but you know, you could tactically try to flip early or flip when it's a good time for you. And when they're doing Cardicopias, pickpockets, that's a keg on them, so they get a penalty for that. So, you know, there's certain things where, and a lot of meta with Shadow Thief is to go into that Carcopia quite a bit. So that's where Cursed Pirate really shines against that matchup. You know, extra 3, 6, maybe 9 damage just from them doing that. Definitely will make a game a lot more not out of reach to beat a Shadow Thief. In fact, I think my record with Cursed Pirate against Shadow Thief is like 8 out of 9 games. So like I'm like an 85% win rate against that. And even the one I lost was down to like literally I just had to roll 1/6 to survive and then kill the Shadow Thief. So that one came down to the wire. But that's pretty much all I wanted to kind of bring up. I wanted to see what other people think. What is your favorite format? I know there's a format I played tonight where you couldn't reuse the same hero, so it was like a best of one, and you out of the 3 games you take the best, I guess, win rates and then a final match. So it's like 4 heroes you could potentially play. Yeah, that was interesting, but again, you know, people are just going through and you're picking Thor, Pyromancer, Shadow Thief, and you're just flipping that character over, hoping you've got the better meta versus the better meta. Whereas the Bring 3 Ban 1 format, it's a lot more rounded, and you can kind of, you know, if you're smart with that picking the 3 characters, you can maybe set yourself up for maybe 2 of your characters being able to counter, give you slight edges off maybe the top meta that people play. So, yeah, but I think a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm bored." People just play the high meta characters, but if you haven't really tried playing the Bring 3 Ban 1, definitely try it out, because I think you're gonna find out that it's not just bring the best meta constantly. Of course, you will bring a heavy hitter out of the 3 for sure, but I do think you're gonna see a lot more of those characters you don't really see in high tournament play in that setting, just based on the facts that I kind of went over in this video. That's pretty much all I want to say. So I'm gonna leave it here, and I'll let you guys chime in here what you guys think of the format. You know, X-Men's coming. That's also gonna spice things up and give us a bigger hero roster, and that might shake things up with the so-called top heroes. And that's gonna end it. So I'll see you guys on my next video. Peace out.